College of Arts and Law. Friday, 11th of July, 2025, 10 a.m. Today, we're coming to you from the grand halls of the University of Birmingham, an institution steeped in discovery and research since 1900. The University of Birmingham was the UK's first civic university, a place designed for everyone, not just the privileged few. Every one of our graduates today is a part of that proud tradition of learning and achievement. Degree congregations at the University of Birmingham date back to 1901 and are held here in the Great Hall, right at the heart of our Edgbaston campus. Attended by nearly 30,000 graduates and guests each year, these events are the highlight of the university calendar and represent for many students the conclusion of their studies at Birmingham. Originally built as a cathedral to learning, the Great Hall never fails to impress our visitors. The building is Grade 2 listed, and it's really the details that make the space so special. It features a trompe-l'oeil domed ceiling located above its formal marble entrance. The entrance is bordered by archways that are designed to draw the eye towards the centre of the room. The music you can hear is being performed by our very own student musicians. They often perform versions of modern pop hits or songs with a Birmingham connection. As our graduands wait for the ceremony to start, this is a time for them to reflect on how far they've come. They may think back to the first lecture they attended in a packed lecture hall, making friendships that will last a lifetime. Maybe they're thinking back to their first eureka moment, when their chosen field of study finally clicked into place. Or perhaps they're thinking about late-night debates in the guild, that group project that pushed them to their limits, or the spark of inspiration when they saw their research was really making an impact. Today they close one chapter and open another. A degree from the University of Birmingham is more than just a name on a certificate. Our graduates are recognised by employers for their resilience, creativity and dedication. Soon, they'll find many exciting opportunities waiting for them. Quick shout out to the staff, students and volunteers who have made this special day possible. We couldn't have done it without you. Also, a reminder to share your photos from today on social media. Make sure to tag our accounts so we can engage with your moment. The audience is a mixture of graduands who sit in the back of the hall and their loved ones who are seated near the stage. During the ceremony, the graduands will make their way up to the stage, accept their scroll, and be applauded by their families and fellow students. In the sea of formal robes in the ceremony, attendees may spot black gowns, red and green gowns, and possibly some other eye-catching colours. The black robes are worn by those graduating with their bachelor's and master's. Green and red robes are for those picking up a doctorate degree. To the families, friends and supporters watching from home today, your encouragement, pep talks and well-timed cups of tea have helped our graduates reach this day. Let's take a moment to appreciate the parents who still don't quite understand what their child studied, but are immensely proud regardless. Well done, everyone. You've earned this celebration. Soon our ceremony will begin. There's a degree of pomp and circumstance to the day that echoes back through the years. These rituals connect our graduands today to students from the very first British universities formed in the 13th century. This procession isn't just tradition for tradition's sake. It's the university's way of honouring the past, affirming the authority of scholarship, and marking the threshold our graduands are about to cross. Now it's time for the procession to start. Senior academics of the university are led into the Great Hall by two mace bearers and will sit on stage throughout the ceremony. There is a mace bearer at the front of the line and one at the back. The latter is called the Esquire Bedell. Both carry large silver maces that they put down on stage. This is a ceremonial kick-off to the day. The mace bearers are usually staff members from the university who have volunteered to take part. Row by row, the procession makes its way up to the stage, passing proud faces in the congregation, students in mortarboards, parents wiping away tears, tutors exchanging proud glances. A senior member of the university, such as the Chancellor or a provost, will be the last to take their place. They'll stand before the attendees and declare the congregation open.
Good morning, everyone. I declare the congregation open.
Well, good morning and welcome to Birmingham. It's absolutely wonderful that you've all been able to join us here today. My name is Professor Helen Abbott, and I'm the Pro-Vice Chancellor and Head of the College of Arts and Law. So it's an absolute pleasure to be able to welcome you, our graduands at the back of the hall, as well as your friends, family and supporters here at the front of the hall to your graduation ceremony. Now, normally, I'd begin my speech by talking to you about everything you've learnt to get to this moment. The exploring new ideas, the tackling tough challenges, maybe debating the intricacies of legal frameworks, or what constitutes good legislation, perhaps over a cuppa at 2 a.m. And of course, all that learning, which is not just about your subject, but about the value of perseverance, of balance, the value of friendship and community. And of course, all of those are really important lessons that will stay with you long after you leave this great hall. And together, we've been celebrating that special milestone in all sorts of memorable ways. You'll have seen Old Joe lit up in vibrant colours. You'll have been taking selfies with friends in the Green Heart. And you'll have enjoyed many of the UOB Extra events over the past few weeks. And just a few weeks ago, thousands of students, alumni, staff and neighbours came together for our Come to Campus festival. And under the open sky, our orchestras and guest performers, some of whom have been playing for you earlier today, paid tribute to Birmingham's musical heritage, from Elgar to ELO and much more in between, in a celebration that was so very proudly Brummie and unmistakably ours. It's also a reminder that this university is more than buildings and books. It's all about the people who bring it to life. So it's been a huge pleasure to have you as part of our community over the past few years. And some of the people who taught you are sitting behind me, and I'm sure they will agree that one of the privileges of our roles as academics is that we have seen how you have grown and developed during your time here, both in your academic knowledge and in terms of your personal growth too. And there are really hundreds of very happy people here in this room and tuning in online on the live stream cameras. I know from experience that some of them will have a tear in their eye, as well as beaming smiles as you walk up on stage in a few moments to graduate. Because your friends and family, just like us here on the stage, are enormously proud of what you've achieved. So very soon, you're going to come up onto this stage and, really significantly, a fellow University of Birmingham law graduate, Sandia Corro, our Chancellor, will admit you to your degree. And that is absolutely your moment. When your name is read out, that is your graduation. So family and friends at the front, when you hear that name, it's your moment to make a huge amount of noise. Whoops, cheers, screams, whatever you need, cameras at the ready, tissues in the other hand, that's your moment too. So graduands, take care on the steps, but also give a huge smile for the camera. Those two things are both possible. And don't forget to savour every moment. Thank you.
Of the scrolls. The graduands walk across the stage to collect their scroll from the presiding officer.
Hello, I'm Professor Warren Barr, Dean of the Law School, and it's my very great pleasure to be presenting officer today. Chancellor, to you and to the University, I present the names of these graduands as listed in my programme, proved worthy to be admitted to their respective degrees.
By virtue of my authority as Chancellor, I admit those persons listed in the programme, both in attendance and in their absence, to the degree for which they are to be presented.
Doctor of Philosophy, for research into the law and culture of Saudi Arabia in drafting effective arbitration clauses in international commercial contracts, Nora Ali S. Al-Sayar. For research investigating power dynamics in commercial landlord-tenant relationships under the Landlord and Tenant Act 1954, Emily Jane Carroll. For research into the links between trade and human rights and African regional integration, Goy School Rockfall Legao. For research into the legal and governance frameworks for ecological restoration in Nigeria, Menes Abina Muzan. Master of Laws, Commercial Law, Fatma Saleh Abdullah Salah Al-Shahabana. Environmental and Energy Law, Frederick Otieno Oko. Robin Camilla Batocci Barrow. Aileen Suyin Chu. Ivan Mark Galura. Nadia Sartis. Mary Chichimba Mulengna. Undine Bell Serena. Mary Chayamba Malenga. Undine Bell Serena. Ta Tin Tang. David Taylor. International Commercial Law, Anushka Mundul. International Law and Security, Mercy Alia Katsivo. Bachelor of Laws, International Law and Globalization with a year in International Business, Johnny Anthony Cousins. International Law and Globalization, Alea Ahmadi. Emily Bosford. Mehmet Büyük. Rithi Joanna de Souza. Oscar Fong. Isaac Theo Hirschman Chandler. Alea Hider. Ashley Allison Jones. Ashley Muyuni Mutisia. Kerry Newton. Nadia Raymond. Raleen Vishal Sudala. Firitol Samuel Shun. Flora Esawudu Sage Talu. Nuama Thundi Wanjoy. Toby Watson. Benjamin Murray Jacques Wilson. Fiza Youssef. Sang Xiu Quan. International Law and Globalisation with a Year Abroad. Kalyani Bachia. Arjun Sida. Harleen Shrupp. Law with Business Studies. Farah Ahmed Atif Dowager. Ariana Rose Forgiuni. Nathaniel Franklin. Lewis Giggins. Francesca Molly Hawkes. William Hopkins. Yukin Liu. Varda Minhas. Rohan Motta. Maria Moisiva. John O'Brien. Conor O'Neill. Ethan Maximus Dinish Pin. Kayam Richards. Rohan Simar. Elia Setkovs. Ding Zhu O. Law with Business with Year Abroad, IABU, Adebayi. Law with Business with a Year in International Business, Elisa Ahmed. Aluwa Tomiwa Laleya. Law with Criminology, Farah Abdo. Alicia Afsar. Muhib Awan. Amelie Clark. Harriet Crosby. Anya Davies. Poppy Fricker. Willy Grusser. Zainab Alvi Hassan. Emily Holmes. Alicia Mane Kabute. Sia Kent. Yasmin Kalfi. Amelia Knight. Ibtisam Rafid Mohammed Maflahi. Gwendolyn Nana Akua Kwachua Mariko. Emily Alice Taylor. Law with Criminology with Year Abroad, Hannah Lily Alsop. Aidan Jahani.
So, as we take a brief pause in the proceedings between all of our graduating cohorts, we're going to take a moment to celebrate our 125th year here at the University of Birmingham. And as part of a really exciting programme of activities and events to celebrate that 125th year, we've invited some distinguished members of our university to come and deliver a special anniversary speech. And we hope speeches like this will help guide, inspire, and in this case, certainly, entertain you as well. Now, each speaker that we're inviting to give these special anniversary speeches is also the recipient of a 125th anniversary award, which they are wearing with pride. The award is a beautiful brooch created by the university's research partner, Cookson Gold. They're a manufacturer based in Birmingham's famous jewellery quarter, along with its sister company, Weston Beemore. So you'll see it on the anniversary speaker's lapel. It's absolutely stunning. Now, today's speaker is Professor Anthony Lilly, OBE. And one important thing to know about Anthony is that he is himself also a law graduate. So if today shows you anything, it's quite how far a law degree can take you. Now, Anthony is a leading figure in today's creative industries, and his contributions span theatre, digital innovation, media, and public service. He is the co-founder of Scenario 2, the theatre company which has been behind acclaimed productions such as Into the Woods, Cages, and The Light and the Piazza with Renee Fleming. Anthony also founded Magic Lantern Productions, a pioneering digital content company whose work has earned BAFTAs, Royal Television Society Awards and Peabody Awards as well. Anthony currently chairs Studio Ulster and the international artist group Blast Theory and serves on the board of UK Theatre. But he's also held very senior roles at Ofcom, the Gambling Commission, the English National Opera and Nesta, where he helped shape UK creative policy. In academia as well, Anthony is a Professor of Creative Industries at Ulster University and a Fellow of the Royal Society of the Arts. He serves here at the University of Birmingham on our senior governing body, our council, and was appointed OBE in 2008. So please join me in warmly welcoming our distinguished guest, Professor Anthony Lilly, as he delivers his anniversary speech to you, the class of 2025.
Hello, everyone. There's my brooch. It's absolutely beautiful. Come and get a picture later. Thank you for the invitation, University. Thank you so much for having me. I'm honoured and delighted to be here. Most importantly, can I add my congratulations to all of you marking a milestone today? Whether you did the work of learning, the work of parenting, or caring, teaching, or supporting any of the above. They say, don't they, that it takes a village, but from my role as a council member of this wonderful place, I know it actually takes more like a small city. So well done, and thank you to everyone. Graduands, I'd like to invite you to give a round of applause to everybody down the front here who's helped you to become who you are today. Shall we say thank you to our parents and carers? So, as you've heard, my name's Anthony, and that kind of intro from Helen always makes me feel like I'm at my own funeral. And I've spent most of my time since I left school, in fact, having, I'm going to say, escaped with a law degree, not from this institution, from a different one, working in the creative industries as a producer. My initial connection to Birmingham is through my wife, Ruth, who's here in the front row with our son, Tom. She remains the best person I've ever met, and a lot of that, I think, is down to the 3 years that she spent here, studying dance and drama. And by the way, she's still great at both of those, although thankfully she now appears in fewer shows these days involving extreme costumes and primal screaming, which I'm reliably informed she did some of while she was here. Student theatre, hey, what are you going to do? So I've worked in digital media, in TV, in theatre, opera, live events for nearly, God forbid, 40 years all around the world, from the US to China and Australia, and I've been lucky to collaborate with some extraordinary people. And people often wonder, what does a producer actually do? And it's a fair question, because I sometimes wonder that myself. The truth is that producers are the people who get projects going, and then we're also the people who have to make sure they get finished. We guide them, we build the teams, we find the money, and we make sure that things actually happen. It's a creative job, but I don't actually act, I don't write scripts, I don't play music. I mostly think about audiences, what might move them, what might excite them, what might make them laugh, or what might make them learn. And then I try, often using sheer bloody-minded obstinacy, to imagine such things into existence. Because for me, creativity is a radical act of belief in the future. It's a positive force for society. As it says, if you want to take it this way, on many an Instagram post, you have to be the change you want to see in the world. Well, something like that anyway. If you're more of a theorist, I like to stay in the flow of what the cultural theorist Raymond Williams calls the culture of feelings. I believe that our culture is made up of everyday lived experiences, and I try to add good things to it. I don't really get the so-called divide between art and popular culture. I'm personally as at home with Handel as I am with Axl Rose, who, by the way, we saw at Villa Park a few weeks ago. It was great. With Shakespeare or Stephen King, I love Terry Pratchett more than I can say, and Anna Karenina broke my heart. I regularly weep, and I am not ashamed to admit it, at the sad stories on television talent shows. This is all fine, or it is to me. So I'm creative, but I'm not an artist. I'm kind of a low-key impresario, without the cigar, the red frock coat, or the volcanic temper that the stereotypes have. And on paper, it seems I've been successful. But that's not the full story, and that's my key message today. Keep going. It's the journey. Between 2007 and 2008, for example, I won a BAFTA, I got given an OBE by the King, and in the same time period had to pretty much close down the company I'd spent 10 years working on, and Ruth and I came quite close to losing our home. So it can be complicated. I've always worked at the point where new technology meets creative expression, and it's a varied life. I used to say that I'm half lovey and half geek, which means I'm extremely arrogant, self-obsessed and emotional, but at least I've got no friends who know that. And that's only partly a joke. 2 weeks ago, as Helen said, I was proud to be there for the opening of Studio Ulster in Belfast, where I'm the chair, and that's a world-leading thing called a virtual production studio. It's incredibly high-tech. If you've seen Barbie or The Mandalorian, a lot of the technology that's available there was used in those movies. I didn't work on those. I can't claim those. Right now, though, I am collaborating with two legends, the director of The Greatest Showman, Michael Gracie, and seven-time Grammy-winning musician Jacob Collier, on a new high-tech show, of all things, about the tenor Luciano Pavarotti. How about that for a creative fusion? And that's where I like to be. I've worked with all sorts of artists and technologists over the years, and I still don't think I've ever had what people call a proper job. But I do get paid, and occasionally quite well, so it must count. Still, I don't think we should see work as something we just do to live, and I'm lucky. Or am I? If there's one thing I wish someone had told me when I left university, it's this. You don't need to have it all figured out. Not at 16, not at 21, not even at 55. And yes, I know, if you could see, I've got a good head of hair under here. My barber told me so last week. Because life doesn't come with a map. It's all about the journey. I had no idea what I wanted to be when I left school. I read law at university, at Oxford, because it's what the clever boys did, but then I got waylaid. Still am. Waylaid can be fun. Was it down to luck? I think probably not. I know for sure that there is plenty of bad luck in the world, and lots of privilege. But as a working-class boy from Bolton, who's the first person in my family to go to university, I firmly believe you can make your own good luck. And statistically speaking, the harder the work, the luckier you seem to have a chance to be. How? By learning constantly. By putting yourself in places where things might happen. By saying yes, even when you're not sure how to do the thing. By leaning on your teachers, your friends, your mentors, of course, your family. And please, keep this quiet, by sometimes, quite often in my case, not entirely knowing what you are doing. Honestly, some of the best things in my career have happened when I didn't really have a proper grip on what was going to happen at all. Again, as they say on Instagram, sometimes you have to feel the fear and do it anyway. Sidebar, though, if you're training to be an airline pilot, this advice does not apply to you. Ignore me. I think it's sensible if pilots know exactly what they are doing. Likewise, civil engineers designing bridges. Please do try to keep to the rules of physics, if at all possible. Close brackets. But for most of us, especially in a world that's changing so fast, curiosity, optimism, and resilience really matter. If you follow what feels true, sometimes you'll get lost. That's not failure. That's how you learn to navigate, especially when you didn't have any idea where you were going in the first place. The world is uncertain. Many of the jobs you'll eventually do haven't even been invented yet. But look at that positively. How great is that? Like many of us in the creative industries, like many of our lives, I believe that your lives are quite likely to be made up of lots of projects more than a structured career path. And I think that will also turn out to be true of many of today's so-called proper jobs, including the law. I think your lives will turn out to be very different from that old model of security, especially as technology continues to change, particularly AI. We're entering a new technological context. Maybe we're already in it. And AI is the big shift. Lots of people are very worried about this, and I'm engaged with AI on a daily basis, and I think about it and I'm concerned and I'm worried and I'm excited. And people ask, can you AI-proof your job? I don't think so, and come to think of it, why would you want to do that? Surely it's better to AI-enable yourself. Learn to prompt, to code if you can, use the tools to help you on your way. Think like a human. That's the special sauce think like a human, connect to humans and also machines. Enable, not resist. I think of it like this. A waterproof coat is great in a rainstorm, but it's not much good if we live in the sea. Then you have to learn to swim. So in this time of change, to make good choices out of the multiverse of possibilities out there, which you may live, may have lived, or might never live, first principles matter. And what matters most is how you treat people, how decently you collaborate. I try to be someone who lifts others up, not someone who exploits them. We've got enough of those kinds of people, don't you think? And at least none of them are in charge of whole countries, though, so that's all good. Staying curious is a superpower. Asking why not when faced with a challenge, as is how bravely you get back up when things go wrong, as they will. Resilience. The word I've heard most often in my career is no. Conversely, the phrase I try to use to frame my thinking is yes and. It's an improv technique that Ruth taught me, and it works for life too. And yes, I have doubts. Lots of them, all the time. So do most creative people I've worked with, even the most famous ones. The people I worry about most are those who are certain they're right, who have no doubt. History tells us that they are more often destructive than they are creative. So try to doubt well. Be kind, be thoughtful, collaborate. The world's complex. It's easy to feel anxious, to feel angry. But angry definitely isn't a superpower. It's almost always a weakness. It's courage we need. Optimism when we can find it. And remember again, everybody's winging it. Nobody really knows what they're doing all the time, even most of the time. And you know what? You can't actually win at life. You can't keep score by money, awards, or number of followers. The connections you make with people, in my case, for instance, looking at the faces of people in a theatre when the audience they really feel something that only happened because you and your mad gang made it real. That's the good stuff. Oh, and try to look after yourself on the way. That's hard too. That's hard. I went to school in Bolton, not very far from here, and like this university, it was founded by a visionary Victorian Edwardian individual, in that case, someone called Lord Leverhulme. He once wrote about the values that I think still matter, and I'll leave you with his words. First, be fair to yourself. Be decent to yourself. Have vision and faith in your future. Vision for the future will give you wings of liberty and enable you to render the best service to your fellow man. So, graduates, as you move into the next chapter of your story, may you have wings of liberty and may you render the best service you can. And from me, please try to doubt well. And may you have the strength every time you need it to get back up again. Thank you and enjoy your day.
Chancellor, to you and to the University, I present the names of these graduates as listed in my programme, proved worthy to be admitted to their respective degrees. Lydia Northey. Oluwaseun Owolabi. Law with French law, Edward Bitty. Leah Emma Camacho McCluskey. Katrina Janison. Rima Kanda. Rebecca Josephine Lamping. Natalie Martin. Sophie Bethan Morgan. Gladys Sunday da Costa. Law with Year Abroad, Eden Alana May Booth. Miles Brandon Richard Chance. Shannon Chang. Arvinder Gill. Nancy Blanche Hubband. Poppy Leah Jones. Eza Munia Khan. Akila Rafiq. Ivranu Singhu. Anusha Rathod. Sophie Rollins. Faizan Saeed. Amber Shafi. Sami Ullah Sekinder. Martine Carmen Rose Wong. Law with Year in International Business, Khadija Ayez. The LLB for Graduates, Atufa Alam. David Adido Adirabikipiki. Renulin Lyle Bulatiko. Jocelyn Laura Ballantyne. Grace Elizabeth Ben. Aishan Bardawaj. Nanaya Owaswa Boteng. Brianna Catherine Bulgan. Caitlin Nicole Butt. Julia Caracholo. Savannah Victoriana Cronk. Lucian Andrew Demchuk. Parveen Dalival. Sharon Bulatifi Diasasola. Adam Dunn. Alessandro Atalu Ferraro. Naomi Gabriel. Benjamin Gardner. Sabrina Gill. Nethra Gopalakrishnan. Selina Gupta. Pratik Rajesh Gupta. Jaskiran Kaur Guraya. Nicholas Hayes. Teresa Joshi. Balkaran Kang. Isha Kumar. Julie Leduc. Claudio Michaela McCooney. Anthony Rizzuto Martins. Jordan Alexander Miss. Megan Claire Morley. Sana Murtaza. Zakaria Nabalsi. Emanuela Ugadetitira Ojiju. Esther Osamodiame Osege. Elizabeth Aranoka Oyegunal. Rajan Singh Pahal. Hansinga Premadis. Yashpreet Raj. Joelle Horacia Ramsey Johnson. Sharandeep Rao. Lureen Resh. Nicole Rose Riggins. Abila Srivarat Tharajan. Ivan Stierbluk. Catherine Helen Stone. Callum Stratton. Kanai Swan. Athanisa A. Tampakis. Parvinder Kaur Tura. Alexis Kendra Watson. Edward Whitmill. It now gives me great pleasure to introduce the student representative to give the speech on behalf of the graduating cohort. Please, can I ask you to welcome Anthony Rosito Martins to the stage.
Good morning, everyone. Today, we graduate from Birmingham Law School. I know you may expect something wise, something grand, something worthy of our black robes and nervous parents. So let me begin with a confession. Law school taught me a lot, but what no lecture or seminar fully prepared me for was this truth. The single most important thing I've learned is how to take a risk. Risk, easy to say, harder to live. We've all been trained to reduce risk, to spot it, to flag it, and pretend it'll vanish. We spend years being cautious, precise, even perfectionist. But life, real life, isn't a courtroom. It's not a statute. Life is messy, unpredictable, and human. And sometimes, risk is not what holds us back, but it's the only way forward. It's raising your hand when you're unsure of an answer. It's applying for the internship that feels out of your league. It's saying, I don't know, out loud when you're afraid everyone else does. And now, as we step into the world, our biggest risk yet awaits, becoming who we are meant to be. 2 years ago, I stepped off a plane from Toronto into Birmingham, suitcase in hand, wondering if I'd made a bold move or a big mistake. Today, standing before you, I know without a doubt it was the best risk I've ever taken. I brought more than luggage with me. I carried heavy thoughts. Who am I? Who do I want to become? Would I find my people? Would I be enough? And here's what I've learned. Perspective isn't given, it's earned. Through every step forward, every challenge, every moment that shifts how we see ourselves and the world. Some of us arrived knowing no one. Some were the first in our families on this path. Some carried invisible burdens and still showed up. We tried, we stumbled, and we adapted. And through it all, we changed the way we saw ourselves. I remember my first day on campus, standing in the middle of a place where I knew no one, new buildings, accents, and expectations. I felt like I just hit a reset on my entire life. For the first time in a long time, I wasn't sure where I fit. I remember walking into my first seminar and thinking to myself, I have no idea what I'm doing. And now, well, I still don't, but at least I know why I did it. I remember Harding Library, the long days that would bleed into evenings without warning, a quiet constant in a noisy world, a place where our doubts, dreams, and efforts began to shape who we were becoming. Perspective was not only shaped by our challenges, but by each other. Late-night conversations in common rooms, shared fears and laughter, the quiet relief when someone simply said, yeah, me too. But make no mistake, perspective is forged in the fire of risk. I made that jump when I left Toronto's skyline for Birmingham's unfamiliar streets. I traded familiarity for possibility, comfort for challenge, certainty for hope. In doing so, I stepped into a space where nothing was guaranteed and everything was on the line. That choice reshaped me. It demanded courage when every instinct screamed stay. It demanded adaptability when plans unraveled. It demanded faith when the road ahead was invisible. And in that uncharted territory, I discovered purpose, because only by risking comfort could I find what truly matters. Belonging, because only by exposing vulnerability could I connect with others. And confidence, because every time you try, even in uncertainty, you prove that you can. Along the way, I met people who became family. We embraced a spontaneous lifestyle, booking last-minute trips across Europe on shoestring budgets, no plan, and just enough language skills to get us hopelessly lost. And we did get lost. In each wrong turn and bursts of laughter over mispronounced words, we discovered something invaluable. Confidence in the unknown, laughter in the beautifully unprepared, parts of ourselves we never knew were waiting to be found. And here's what I've come to believe. When you ask, can I? Risk replies yes if you choose to try. When you wonder, what if I fail? Risk whispers, but what if you fly? When you fear the unknown, the leap itself becomes the lesson. Risk is uncomfortable. Don't let anybody tell you different. We crave safety, stability, and routines, but without it, There are no breakthroughs, no memorable moments, and no real growth. So remember this. I don't know what's next, but I'm willing to find out. That declaration is the seed of transformation. It is the hinge on which your future swings. Every defining moment, including this one, began with a single decision to take a chance, to apply, to move, to speak, to try. As Matthew McConaughey once said, we cannot fully appreciate the light without the shadows. We have to be thrown off balance to find our footing. So embrace the imbalance. Lean into uncertainty. Trust that each step into the unknown doesn't push you off course. It creates your course. On behalf of all of us, thank you to the professors who challenged and inspired us, to the staff who supported us, to the families and friends who stood behind us, especially on the days we were too overwhelmed to call home. Thank you for believing in us when we really didn't believe in ourselves. Personally, I want to thank my father. Your tireless work ethic taught me that success doesn't come from talent alone, but from the quiet choice to show up every day, even when no one's watching. My mother, your unwavering love anchored me. You taught me that real support isn't in grand gestures, but in everyday presence, late-night calls, and steady belief. My sister and brother, for your patience, your laughter, and your reminders that being someone's rock is a strength all in its own. And to my extended family, your letters, care packages, and constant encouragement reminded me that no matter how far I traveled, I never walked alone. So to the class of 2025, I say this: don't fear risk, don't fear failure, and don't fear growth. Take the job that excites you, even if it terrifies you. Start the firm, launch the NGO, travel, fail, rise, and try again. Because the law will always be here, but your life, it won't wait. And when someone says, that's risky, you look them in the eye and say, so is coming to law school. Thank you and congratulations.
Thank you, Anthony. Good morning, everyone. Okay, let's try that one more time. Good morning, everyone. What a wonderful celebration this is, and it is a celebration. I don't think you made enough noise during the ceremony, so I'm going to give you another chance. So everybody in the front, make as much noise, stomp, whistle, to celebrate our class of 2025. Off you go. Excellent, excellent. My name is Sandia Coro. It's my honour to be the Chancellor of this amazing university. I was in this hall many decades ago getting my degree coming up on this stage in law and politics. So being here now is like a homecoming. It is absolutely wonderful. And it was great to see all your smiles, all the pride on your faces as I hand you your certificate. So very well done. I know this is not easy. The university, as you've heard, is 125 years old. That is quite a feat. There have been 8 chancellors in that time. I'm the 8th, and I'm the first female chancellor. And yesterday, I had the huge honour of presenting my son, Max, with his graduation certificate when he graduated yesterday in criminology. So it's been quite a week, and to round it off by presiding over the ceremony for the law graduates, my old faculty, is really something hugely special. I am 3 generations now of Coros that have been here. My mother from the Windrush generation studied nursing at QE. Me from the Sony Walkman generation did law and politics. And someone knows what a Sony Walkman is, thank you. And as I said, my son Max and the TikTok generation graduated yesterday. But looking out at all of you graduates, class of 2025 at the back, I know you're really happy today. I could see it on your faces. Once you got up the steps, you were very relieved and were really enjoying it. So I'd like to ask you now, graduates of 2025, please, can you raise the roof for your family, your supporters at the front, and your tutors, professors, all the support from those behind me, because I've always got my back to you. I'm sorry about that. But they're wonderful support. So graduates, please raise the roof. This university is a university of many, many firsts, and I just want to give you a few. It's the first civic university to be founded, in the belief that education should be a force for public good, not private privilege. It's the first university to have a faculty of commerce, the first university to incorporate a medical school and to welcome women to take medical degrees. And, this is one of my favourites, it's the first university to offer physical education as a degree. And of course, you have seen Old Joe outside. It's the tallest freestanding brick clock tower in the world, named after our founder, Joseph Chamberlain. We all love Old Joe, and legend has it, as a student, if you're here, you never walk under the tower because you're going to fail your degree. So I don't know if that's still the issue, but I've never walked under that tower, and I don't think students tend to do that. We're also home to 10 Nobel Prize winners, which is pretty amazing. And some of the world's biggest inventions have been invented here at the University of Birmingham. The cavity magnetron, which was really important in radar technology during the Second World War, and is also in everybody's microwave. So we're very grateful to that, and a saviour to every student, I'm sure. The airbag that saved millions of lives on roads every day, invented in the University of Birmingham. Pacemakers and heart valves, invented here at the University of Birmingham. And today our labs are working on cancer treatments and medical advances that are changing the face of healthcare and saving many lives across the world. So we don't just teach history here, we make it. And I want to say to the class of 2025, this is your home. You will always belong here. It's very important that you remember this as your home. We have a lot of alumni services, we have great career services you can use, but I think the thing is when you walk out of those doors to further perhaps your education, your career, just remember here is always home. One of the things that I want to say, and it kind of ties into what the two Anthonys have said as well, and to leave you with these thoughts on this very auspicious day for you. Now, this may sound a bit controversial, seeing that we are in a ceremony for graduates here at this prestigious university. But I'm going to tell you something that is very, very true. Cleverness is overrated. I'm not saying the money that you have spent on your degrees isn't worth it. Far from it. It's worth every penny. But on its own, being clever will not be enough to be successful in this world. So I want to give you 5 things that have to sit beside cleverness if you want to succeed. The first one, curiosity. Never, never, never stop learning. Never stop asking questions. Never stop exploring and going beyond your comfort zone. And always question. You've heard that before today. Opinion is not a fact. What is the data telling you? Where is the proof? Be your own fact checkers. And I know as graduates from this law school, you know exactly what that means. Albert Einstein said, the important thing is not to stop questioning. Curiosity has its own reason for existing. Be curious, remain curious. Motivation. Set your sights really high. Don't set your sights on something you want to achieve or what you can do in the next 5 years or so. What's going to put you on the cover of Time magazine? Motivation. When I was very little, which is a very long time ago, by the way, even before the invention of the Sony Walkman, I was in class and the teacher went around the class to ask everybody what they wanted to do when they grew up. And I said I wanted to be a judge. And the teacher turned to me and said, "I'm sorry, Sandy, but little black girls from Balham don't become judges." Now, I totally ignored that, and look at me here, Chancellor of the University of Birmingham. But what I would say to you is never let anybody's limitations that they put on you become your limitations of yourself. Be the best version of yourself, not the second-rate version of someone else. Whatever you want to achieve, work hard, go for it. Don't let somebody tell you you can't do it. The only person who can decide you can't do it is you, nobody else. People skills, very important. Life is not a solo act. As they say, there is no I in team. Learn to connect, learn to be compassionate, learn to be patient, and learn to build bridges. Now, I appreciate that not everybody is a people person, and if you're neurodivergent, that may be a challenge. So let that, change it from people to perspective. The world needs thinkers and observers as much as it needs talkers and doers. The way you see the world, if you see it differently, might be just what we need to make this world a better place. There is a famous African proverb that says, "If you go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together." And resilience, we've heard about that. You're going to fall down. That's life. It's going to happen. Falling down, failing. What is that? Well, failing is when you fall down, you don't get back up again. The falling down is not the failure, it's the not getting back up again. Resilience will really be, your success will be closely related to your reserves of resilience. And let me just say something that is very true. Sometimes you want to do something and you want a yes to a question, a job application, whatever it is, and you want that yes. Sometimes you will get a no. Do not see that no as a bad thing. Embrace that no, because now a world of possibilities opened up to you. What you thought you were going to do, maybe it's not going to be quite like that. But everything else is on the table for you. So don't feel that a no is the end of the world. It might well be the beginning. And you can still go after your dream. Hard work will be important in that. And there was a famous 1960s hairdresser called Vidal Sassoon who said, "The only place where success comes before work is in the dictionary. So you've got to work hard for what you want." And the fifth one, the last one, kindness. We've heard about that. Kindness is not a weakness. Kindness is courage in action. Being kind takes courage. Desmond Tutu said, "Do your little bit of good where you are. In those little bits of good, put together, will overwhelm the world." So, class of 2025, I know you're going to dream big. I know you're going to go out there and show the world what a University of Birmingham graduate can do. So let me leave you with a quote from Nelson Mandela. "There is no passion to be found in playing small, in settling for a life that is less than the one you are capable of living." So, class of 25, go out into the world. Support one another. You would have made friends here for life that will support you through thick and thin. Be kind. Be bold. Live your dreams. And never forget, as you've heard, your superpower is the fact that you're a University of Birmingham graduate. Congratulations. Go change the world. I can't wait to see what you're going to do. Go be great. And as Anthony said, go take risks. See you soon. Thank you. Okay, we're going to let you go now. I declare the congregation closed.
the ceremony that completes the university journey for hundreds of Birmingham alumni has come to an end. The procession begins to stream out of the Great Hall, carrying with them the maces that were set down at the start of the ceremony. It's a nice bit of visual poetry that bookends the ceremony. As those maces are carried forward, so too are our graduates onto their next adventure. This is a powerful moment for our graduates, representing the culmination of years of dedicated study. The education, connections, and friendships they have made at Birmingham will last a lifetime. The University of Birmingham is known for producing great thinkers, change makers, and innovators. From Nobel Prize winners to sporting champions, this institution has shaped minds that go on to make a real difference in the world. Today's graduates are stepping into that legacy, ready to make their mark, whether they're heading into research, launching businesses, or, let's be honest, finally taking a proper break before the next adventure begins. From the Great Hall to the wider world, our graduates will carry the knowledge, ambition, and spirit of Birmingham in their next chapter. Wherever you're watching from, this is not just an ending. It is the beginning of something exceptional.